For those of you that are interested, I believe our next speaker may say something about giving away a Porsche. I don't know if that will attract exhibitors and attendees back to the floor here, but our next speaker is going to say something about giving away a Porsche. So I'd like to introduce our next introducer, Davis Woodruff, who's President of Management Methods.
Our next speaker is Hagen Radowski. He has a doctorate in economics and an MBA as well, and he's going to talk to us about a new paradigm. But 30 years ago, about that time, we were talking about a paradigm shift in the automotive world about quality. About 15 years ago, that paradigm shift became one of logistics. Today, it's one of technology. So today, Dr. Radowski is going to mention to us about the automotive paradigm shift made in America. So welcome, Dr. Radowski.
Great. Okay. Wow. We could use some more people over here because I'm giving away a Porsche, not only one. So I will make this presentation fun for you, and I'm also going to show you 3 examples of the future of our industry. So, but let me start by showing you where we are. We are MHP, a Porsche company, and I hope you have been to this building in Atlanta, directly adjacent to the airport. And it's not our headquarters. It is primarily our customer experience center, because that's what today customers want to see in our industry. They need a platform to engage with the brands. And this is one Porsche Drive directly adjacent down at the airport. The fence of the airport is our fence. Talking about airports, would you be able to name the 3 busiest airports in the world? Number 3, any ideas? Didn't hear it. Dubai is number 3, 89 million passengers in 2017. Number 2, any ideas? I think I heard Beijing over there. Can we have a Porsche for that gentleman over there? Beijing is correct. So we're going to start out with the small Porsches, right? And of course, number 1 is Atlanta. Yeah, that was easy. No Porsche for that. But 105 million passengers last year, so that's truly amazing. But again, it's just a great space to be in, an old Ford Taurus plant. And today I want to give you 3 examples, and Raj from Siemens just mentioned it. You got to blend the real world and the digital world. 3 examples of what digital means for us, not only at Porsche, but within the Volkswagen Group and with the many other customers we work. Digital really means so many things to so many people, right? Digital is some kind of blurry term for everybody. I think there are 3 driving forces for digital. Number 1, today we have abundant, cheap storage capabilities. 2, we have massive real-time processing power. And 3, we finally have the bandwidth to move all the data around the globe. So it really has become kind of a global thing for us as we deploy technology. But the challenge we face as an industry is a completely different one. Why? Because this is our reality. We're not starting greenfield. We've been around for over 100 years, most of us. We've been profitable. We've been growing. We've been very successful. We got a brand to protect, a legacy to repeat, and a profitability to increase. So when we speak to CEOs of companies we work with, this is always what we hear. How do I do digitization? That's obstacle number 1. Obstacle number 2 is exactly this. We've been engineering-led and product-centric for a very long time. And now we're really going towards the other side. And Tesla does this really well, being customer-centric. So being customer-centric only can be done by going new routes and also by introducing technology. A large part of what we do, for example, at Porsche, in going customer-centric, is working with large amounts of data. So I was looking around for a term that would describe what's going on in our industry right now. And I came across a book that was written 55 years ago. 55 years ago. And the book is The Structure of Scientific Revolution by a guy named Thomas Kuhn. And here's for another Porsche. What term was coined in this book by Thomas Kuhn that describes so perfectly what's going on in our industry? Anybody? Yeah, it's the paradigm shift. That was, you know, we use this term all the time. We use this term all the time. Here's your Porsche, well deserved. But it was actually invented 55 years ago. 55 years, the paradigm shift. And it's really along those lines when we see that new rules apply, new facts apply, and the community is adopting those new rules and those new facts. So the question I always get, and I take Porsche as an example, how do you master that paradigm shift? How do you do it? Well, there are 3 easy first steps. Step number 1, change your vision. Porsche changed its vision from being a premier manufacturer of sports cars to being a premier provider of sportive mobility experiences. So that just means we are embracing a much larger market, much more opportunities to serve our customers. So step number 1, change your vision. Step number 2 in getting customer-centric is organize yourself around the customer. Have a specific organizational unit, which we do have at Porsche, that owns the customer journey and that owns the customer data. And they sit on top of a global CRM, and I think we are the only automotive OEM that owns one single SAP CRM globally with all the customer data in it. And I can tell you the quality effort over the past 9 years may have been sometimes boring, but what we are able today in terms of inventing new customer journeys for mobility experiences all relies on the data quality of that CRM we've been working on for over 9 years. And last but not least, it's external companies that are owned by the OEM, like MHP, and by the way, MHP stands for Mischke, Hoffmann and Partners, the 2 founders, but that's way too hard to remember. So please take home, MHP is many happy people. This is what we are, MHP, many happy people. Porsche also owns some other companies like Porsche Digital and even a Porsche lab in Berlin, where we work. And this is actually a great way to stimulate innovation within a given organization, because we take the people out of their regular working environment, we take them to the lab, we start the idea, we bring them back, and eventually we bring out great ideas. And I really want to show you 3 great ideas, paradigm shifts for automotive, made in USA, made by our team of MHP here in the US. And I just saw that Raj, one of his last slides was, you have to blur the lines between physical and digital. Let me tell you a quick story, and you might have seen this car over at our booth 300. Let me tell you a quick story how we do it today. If you go order a Porsche with us, you can go into a virtual or augment virtual reality space, configure your car, select all the options you want. You can order it. The moment your car is getting manufactured, you start getting pictures from the factory. How the body is created, how the powertrain is created. The moment those two are married, you get a marriage certificate for your car and some more pictures. The moment the car gets out of the factory, you get a download. To do what? To have a vessel tracker to see where your car is on the ship. Isn't that great? So the momentum is building, the momentum is building. It's amazing. And it all builds up to that moment when you're down with us at one Porsche drive and the digital world hits the real world, when you pick up your car in this wonderful environment. This is what experience means. And the good news is, for a business card of yours and some ideas what we might do for you, you can pick up a Porsche at our booth. We're gonna start with the small one first, okay? We're gonna get bigger over time. But hey, booth 300, this is where we are. So really marrying a digital process with a real process and building up to that moment of delivery is example number one. Example number two, and you might have heard about it, is an Atlanta-based startup called Clutch. And today you can engage in something called the Porsche Passport Program. The Porsche Passport Program is not a lease program. It's basically a mobility program that gives you access to the full Porsche portfolio on an on and off monthly basis for a flat fee. And again, this was done with a local startup company here from Atlanta called Clutch. And that's another way of lowering the barriers of entry for our new customers or for customers who just want to try out Porsche. So another great example of applying technology to ease and accessibility for our brand. Wonderful, it's working great, we're expanding, and we're taking this now to the West Coast. But I think the most exciting for you all out here in the audience is probably what we're currently doing for our sister company Audi in Hungary, where we actually build a factory of the future. And we did start to build the factory of the future by eliminating all the conveyor belts. And how that looks like, you can see here. We have introduced autonomously guided vehicles, not induction-led. They're completely sensor-driven and controlled by one master algorithm. So instead of having conveyor belts, we're moving the parts between the station and also the supply for the supermarket through these autonomous vehicles. And the whole management of those vehicles is tied back to the ERP system and to a master algorithm that learns from the real data that's coming in from the factory and eventually optimizes certain procedures. What we found out the hard way in this project is it's not the technology that's the challenge, it's the people. So what we did try to do, or what we had to do, is to come up with a user interface for that environment that is more easy to handle. And what we did is basically what you see here. We have a bubble graph interface, and all of these bubbles either represent a resource, an autonomous vehicle, or material being moved in the chains to manufacture these e-axles for the new e-tron from Audi. And as we zoom out now, you will see this was the only way for people in the factory to see the whole process and still be able to navigate and manage that kind of process. So that's really quite amazing. And you know what? It was a rough start. It was not easy. But 3 months into the project, the head engineer of the plant sits down with me and says, Hagen, let's sit down. Here's my PC, here's my rule-based engine. Let's try to recreate what the algorithm is doing. 1 hour later, he says, hey, I give up. out of the mouth of a German engineer, this sounds hard, but I think I have to learn to trust the algorithm. And that's probably well stated. I have to learn to trust the algorithm. And you know, it's not happening tomorrow. This is happening today. And it's basically a completed closed loop manufacturing system going back into ERP and also connected to, of course, the extended warehouse management and the product lifecycle management data, because that's where it was all coming from. But again, connecting all the dots and really learning to trust the algorithm was a key learning out of that 30 examples. So 3 great examples for digital paradigm shifts. But there was one overarching learning from all these projects. What do you think that was? Courage. It's not madness, but we all know that courage will change everything.
Building the car of your dreams yourself. Madness. Putting the engine in the back. Madness. Launching a turbocharged super sports car in the midst of a worldwide oil crisis. Madness. Building the first hybrid car on Earth, and when its time had come, the fastest one on Earth. They called it madness. Building a sports car with 4 business class seats. Let them call it madness. We call it courage. And courage will change everything.
And so really the key learning for us through all the projects we've done so far, through all what we've heard today when it comes to digitization, don't forget the people, because changing the people, including the people, making sure they understand that this is truly a paradigm shift is what will make the difference. And again, think of that German engineer. I think I have to learn to trust the algorithm. Yes, my friend, yes you do. We are MHP, we over at booth 300. We're a management and IT consultancy of Porsche, 2,600 people. I'm the CEO of MHP here in the US. Again, we're based down at 1 Porsche Drive. We're doing the connected car, factory of the future, all these great things. And guess what? Our biggest customer outside of the Volkswagen Group is Mercedes-Benz. Wow, so why would Mercedes-Benz work with the Porsche company? Because we are a large family. And it's, again, that notion also from Thomas Kuhn, and I want to leave you with that. Shift happens. Check your paradigm. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hagen. We are now ready for our exhibitor coffee and networking break. Please continue to meet with our exhibitors. The feedback we've been getting is very, very high. Exhibitors are happy with the amount of traffic, and I think a few deals have already been cut. So please continue to visit our exhibitors, thank our sponsors. They make this all happen. At 3 o'clock, we will have our afternoon breakout sessions. They're in your book. And the conference will close at about 4:30, following which time we will sort of get ready for our gala reception this evening. So thank you very much. Please visit our exhibitors.